welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your yarn host, Jennifer. I got to share a little story with you, and then I'm going to show you guys some yarn, okay? I was sitting on the couch, and I was making a do-rag. You guys know I've been working through my scraps. I had this little ball of yarn, and I knew exactly what it was because I fell in love with this yarn when I used it the first time, and this was what was left over. It is King Cole Drifter Chunky yarn. I found 2 skeins plus a ball at a thrift store sometime last year, I think, for like a really good price. It was in with a bunch of other yarns, and it was beautiful. And it sat on my shelf for a long time, and probably at least 6 months it sat on my shelf, maybe longer, because the yarn was so beautiful. I fell so in love with it. The color, the pattern of the yarn, the feel of the yarn. It was like a cotton acrylic blend. I fell so in love with this yarn. So I had a little ball left over, and it was in my stash. But because I loved working with it so much, I knew exactly what yarn it was. And I used it over the winter time to make a hat and a fingerless mitt set. I didn't take into account that there's cotton in it and it was not stretchy, so after I finished it, it did not fit my big head. It's still in there because I can't force myself to part with it because I love it so much. It's beautiful the way it worked out. Anyway, I had just the little ball left over, so I made myself a do-rag. See how beautiful this yarn is? This color in particular is like, that's my jam. That is just, it's so pretty, and it's soft, and it works up beautiful. So I just made this little do-rag, and as I was working with it, I pick up my phone to just see if there's anywhere I can buy this yarn. And I saw that they had a colorway of this yarn titled Michigan. This is Auckland, okay? And it's beautiful and I love it. But they had one that's called Michigan, which is where I'm from. It's where I started. It's where I met my husband. It's where my daughter was born. Michigan it's still like my home base. So I was excited, but I didn't have any money in my bank account. Let's just be real. My bank account was empty, okay? I had $7. So I knew I couldn't order it, but I took note of where I saw it at. And, you know, Mr. Cinnamon come and sat down next to me. And he's all, what you making? And I started telling him about this yarn, you know, whatever. And I told him, I said, they have some of this yarn named Michigan. And I didn't tell him anything else of this yarn because it was in a little ball. There's no label, there's nothing. I just said that it was labeled in Michigan. So, as Mr. Cinnamon often does, he was sitting next to me looking at his phone, so I didn't think nothing of it. He's all, is it the King Cole yarn? The chunky, the drifter? And I looked at him and said, how did you know that? He's all, because I just looked it up. Oh, okay, well, I didn't think nothing of it. This was like Tuesday of last week. So, Friday, I'm sitting on my bed. Oh, I didn't weave in my end. Oh well. I also played Yarn Chicken and lost. So I'm sitting on my bed on Friday. This was Tuesday we had this discussion. On Friday I'm sitting on my bed. I had just woken up. I wasn't feeling well at all. I'm having tummy issues, not a big deal. I got a notification on my phone that a package was delivered. Well, you know, no, I knew I didn't order anything. I didn't have no money. He orders stuff all the time. Like, you know, he likes to order from Amazon. He orders like tools and like if he needs a part for something, he orders it on Amazon, so because we can't go out and get it, you know. He comes upstairs and sets this on the bed. And I said, I didn't order anything, that's not mine. He said, just open it. Just open it. It's from Lovecrafts. Now, I have never ordered from Lovecrafts. So opening this up and seeing these beautiful bags of yarn, like, I freaked out a little bit. I was like, oh my God, you bought me yarn. So I wanted to show you what Mr. Cinnamon bought me. I did not pick any of this out. I just mentioned in passing that that they had Michigan, and I planned on buying it. And I saw it on Lovecraft, and I saw that they only had 4 in stock, and I was going to order all of them. I took note, you know, wait for payday, and then order myself the yarn I wanted. But by Friday, I forgot. I really did, but there was no need. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's not the Michigan, because the Michigan honestly is my favorite first. This is just, I love that they put them in these little bags. Like, I'm so gonna reuse these. This could be good for like putting gifts in or storing stuff in. Totally little meshy bags. Cute, right? He got me 2 of the Serenity by Premier in the color Lilac. And I don't have any of this in my stash right now. I used to get this. Oh, that smells good. Oh, that smells really good. I used to have a bunch of this in my stash because I would get it from AC Moore when it would go on sale for like $5 a ball. Fantastic sale. I mean, this is a big skein. But I don't have any. I don't have any left. And this is just, it's a bulky 5. It is 100% acrylic, 295 yards. Look at how pretty that purple is. Look at that. So he got me 2 of those. Both came in their own little meshy sack. Awesome. He went on the look for the King Cole drifter yarn, and then proceeded to look for Premier yarns on the website, because that's what he knows, because that's what I talk about. I was totally happy. And then he got me some of the Premier Eversoft, which this is not, I believe this is discontinued yarn. This is not on the Premier Yarns website. I found some of this in almost this color, a little bit oranger than this, at the Dollar Tree 6 or 8 months ago. So I really liked it. It's soft. I mean, it's called Eversoft, but it's a nice yarn. And so I was excited to see this because, well, actually it showed up like that. So I was like, what the heck kind of yarn is that? I didn't think to turn it over and see that it was Premier Eversoft. But look at those colors. Isn't that beautiful? And this is in the color Misty. It is a medium number 4. It's 130 yards, 100% acrylic. And he got me 3 of those. These little bags are so cute. I've never ordered from Lovecrafts, so it's kind of cool that, you know, my first time getting Lovecrafts is from him. Look at that. Look at that. I told him, I was like, why didn't you save this for Mother's Day? This would have been an awesome Mother's Day gift. But he's really bad at holding on to gifts. He really is. And then, take that one out. He got me some of this cotton lurex yarn. Total glittery. This is Essentials Cotton Lurex. It says Rico Design. That is so funny. Side story. When I first met Mr. Cinnamon, he was a little bit of a ladies' man, if you get my drift. He was a slut. He was. He loved the girls, and the girls loved him. He had such a sweet talk, and he knew how to run game. And okay, I nicknamed him Rico because I would tease him that he thought he was Rico Suave, and this says Rico. I don't think he knows that. That's funny. I'm gonna have to show that to him. Rico Design. That's hilarious. That is really funny. This is 97% cotton, 3% polyester. It's made in Italy, and it is a number 3. Did I say how many yards it is? I don't know. I don't know. 170 meters. A little tiny. I think that's cute. So he got me 3 of those. Rico. I still call him Rico on occasion. And he, like, for some holidays, if he gets me a card, or like for Christmas all of my gifts will have different names on it. It will say to mommy from daddy, or I don't know, to something from Rico, and my daughter hates that. I think it's cute. Okay, and last but not least, this is the King, oh, it's upside down. King Cole Drifter in the colorway Michigan. And this to me is so absolutely perfect because this reminds me of Lake Huron or Lake Michigan. You got the color of the dirt because Lake Michigan has sand, but Lake Huron not so much. So we'll say the sand and the dirt. And then the blue of the lakes. That just, and then the sky gets like this slaty color. That's a good representation of Michigan to me with all the Great Lakes. Not Lake Erie, because Lake Erie is gross and dirty. I have not, the only two Great Lakes that I have not been to is Lake Superior and Lake Ontario. Actually, I have been to Lake Ontario because I went to Niagara Falls when I was a little girl. So I have seen Lake Ontario, but I barely remember it because we drove through Canada. Good times. It's always funny. My parents, we were poor. I don't know how we afforded the vacation. I was about 5 or 6. My baby sister was in diapers, and my older sister was 8 or 9. Yeah, it was, we drove. We went to a restaurant where everything was in French and we didn't know what the menu said, which was like, it was fancy because it was a cheap little hole in the wall restaurant, but the menu was in French. Yeah, I remember being terrified, and I remember my dad, we were leaning over this metal rail looking at the waterfalls going underneath our feet, and my dad screamed at us. My dad was not real nice when we were little. He was mean, but he screamed at us, "Don't fall, I ain't Superman, I can't fly and save you." So yeah. We took our kids to the Grand Canyon, and I had that same moment of sheer terror that my dad had of us leaning over the Niagara Falls, because my son has ADHD. He's very high strung, and he acts before he's able to think because his body's just constantly in motion. It was the scariest thing in the world to me to have him at the Grand Canyon where there are no rails, because I could see him like chasing something that wasn't there and just running off the cliff. I had nightmares for 4 nights going to the Grand Canyon, and I'd never want to go back again. It was scary. The same thing would probably happen at Niagara Falls. I'd probably have to like put a leash on him or something. So, isn't that beautiful? And so touching that he bought me yarn. And he bought me yarn. I'm sorry. I laughed so hard it made my eyes water. I thought it was so touching that he bought me this yarn that I'm probably going to put on my shelf for a long time, because it's really sweet that he bought me. And it's Michigan. It's called Michigan. And I love it so much. So I wanted to show you guys that because it meant a lot to me. I have like the best husband ever some of the time, because let me tell you, with him being home all the time, he's getting on my nerves. He's a good man. He loves me, he spoils me, but he does get on my nerves, as I get on his as well. So I'm gonna end that video today, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend, because I filmed this on Monday, but I'm planning on airing it on Friday. So yeah, have a fantastic weekend. Bye guys.